That's exactly what I said.
Right. You feel me?
Handle your scandal like a vandal.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
You know what it is. What up, what up, what up? Everybody get in here. Hit the like button, hit the like button. I see YouTube is delaying. See? YouTube is playing. They delaying when y'all can come in here. That's crazy. Normally I got 8, 9 people waiting to get in. Man, YouTube is on one. Maybe I was talking too much shit today. They delayed y'all getting in here. That's crazy. Y'all got to hit that like button. I promise you. They after your boy. They after your boy.
Cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door. Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on because it takes two to tango and I need to hit his.
Hit that like button, y'all.
So she's driving me insane. Got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing me games. Man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the
Like it. Like.
Attachment theory describes the way that everyone relates to others. Now be sure to check out some of my other videos in this series for an in-depth look at the different attachment styles. One of the main attachment styles is called secure. It's characterized by a person who views themselves and others appropriately. In many ways, it is a balanced view of how to relate to others and to yourself. So for example, how should you be there for someone else? And what can you expect them to do for you? How content are you with yourself? And where does the responsibility lie for growing or maturing as a person? Can you differentiate one relationship from another? Or are you living out past hurts and negative interactions through your present relationships? All these questions, and especially the reflections they foster, are at the heart of attachment theory. As Christians, we should be grateful for these observations and the way that modern psychology has sought to put into practice a foundational truth about God and how He designed us, even if they're not aware that that's what they're doing. God has always been in relationship with himself. It's not surprising then that he made us in his triune image to exist in relationship with ourselves, others, and especially him. At the heart of attachment theory is the idea that in relationship we can get what we need, or we can be attuned to someone else. There's a trust that one can have with another to be secure and provided for, at least most of the time. If there's a conflict, disappointment, or some type of rupture in the relationship, then the other person can be counted on to try and repair, to make things right again. Now, where would a strong, fundamental...
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Y'all thought that somehow the voice of reason would stop with these wide-ranging topics. This is a topic that must be had. It must be dealt with. Man, I couldn't even sleep last night. I was up walking around my neighborhood at 3, 4 in the morning because of this topic. Can early childhood insecure attachment styles negatively affect your relationship with God? See, I think you guys play too much. Y'all don't understand when I say relationships are everything. To be is to relate, right? Relationship. We're in a relationship with Earth, with its atmosphere. Do you understand? With the water, with the soil, do you understand? So many people say, oh, I got a relationship with God. Me and my relationship with God is fine. But yet, we'll still suppress, right? Or repress, I should say, their negative emotions, negative feelings about things. You can't do yourself. Your relationship with yourself can't be like that, and you still have a good relationship with God. I know this is going to be difficult tonight. Can early childhood attachment styles that are maladaptive negatively affect your relationship with God? An intriguing look at the impact of early childhood attachment styles on relationship with self, on the relationship with self and God. Are you securely or insecurely attached to God? We got questions. I want you to think about it. 4 attachment styles. Only one is secure. The other 3 are insecure. There are different variations of insecure attachment. You have dismissive, or you have avoidant, and then you have anxious. Okay? You have anxious preoccupied. That's one style of maladaptive or insecure attachment style. Right? That's the anxious style. There's only one anxious style, but there are 2 avoidant styles. One is dismissive avoidance. Okay? The other one is fearful avoidant, also known as disorganized. The fearful avoidant contains 2 wounds, 2 core wounds. The anxious has a fear wound. Do you understand? The dismissive has a rejection wound, a fear of rejection wound. So they've conditioned themselves to become independent and avoidant. The fearful avoidant has both fear, right? The anxious and the avoidant wound. So they're clingy and independent simultaneously, from moment to moment, from second to second, from situation to situation, if they are triggered. Or as Attila might say, they feel the ick. Does one's trust in God falter when their desires are unmet? While anxiety and doubt arise when expectations are not fulfilled by a higher power, Are you only cool with God when he's giving you what you want? Oof. True or false? To understand your attachment style and why you might be feeling far from God, consider how you deal with times of disconnection. Behavioral patterns, as we observe in our earthly relationships, can provide clues to the kind of attachment style we develop from our family of origin and could help us in our relationship with God. Is God not real to you when God is not being real with you? Huh? 1-800-920. See, God moves in mysterious ways. This is why we hold people to such high standards. You better tell me exactly what it is, but God gets a pass. We've created all types of intellectualizations. God moves in mysterious ways. Mm, mm, mm. You better not, hey, God is God, but you, Can your attachment style affect your relationship with God? Agree or disagree? If you have a shame-filled attachment style, it can be hard to imagine that God likes you. Ugh. True or false, your attachment style has much to say about your spiritual life, especially about the times you feel disconnected from God. You heard us talking about spiritual bypassing, haven't you? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is interesting. How did John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth attachment theory revolutionize our understanding of our relationship with God? Do you have a transactional relationship with God? Does God matter when he provides? And does he not matter when he doesn't? I'm asking real questions tonight. 1-800-920-1580. I want to talk to everybody tonight. Is it possible to have an anxious attachment style with God? What? Wait, hold on. Let's get to that. Let's what is an anxiously attached? How can you be anxiously attached to God? I I'm interested to know. Are y'all interested to know? I want to know. How can you be anxiously attached to God? Well, let's see. Constant worry. You often find yourself worrying about whether God will meet your emotional, financial, psychological, or any other need, right? You worry about if God will comfort you. How many people out there worrying? 1-800-920-1580. Are you anxiously attached to God? This is how the anxious attachment style manifests in your relationship with God. Seeking reassurance. Can you get reassurance from God? 1-800-920-1580. You're always seeking reassurance from God, just like you seek reassurance from your partner. 1-800-920-1580. You frequently seek reassurance from religious texts, leaders, or rituals to alleviate feelings of insecurity in your relationship with God. Listen, I felt that way before, many times. I'm not here to judge you. I'm standing with you. We doing this together. Either we having this conversation together or we not having it at all. Get to your phone lines, 1-800-920-1580. Fear of abandonment. There is an underlying fear of being abandoned or neglected by God, leading to feelings of insecurity and anxiety, 1-800-920-1580. Are you anxiously attached in your relationship to God? Do you feel like God ain't gonna show up for you? Do you feel like God can't hear you? Listen, I've stood outside at 2 a.m. and said, God, do my prayers matter? Do I need somebody else to pray for me in order for you to hear my cry? Should I just recite Psalms 23? Should I recite Psalms 91, Psalms 57? Would you rather me just read the word? Is that how I get you to respond? Fear of abandonment. Are you over dependent? Can you be over dependent on God? You rely heavily on religious practices or prayers to alleviate anxiety and provide a sense of security. Well, after my mother had a nervous breakdown, she spent 12 hours a day in her prayer closet. Maybe that's over dependence. Hypersensitivity. Are you highly sensitive to perceived signs of disconnection from God, leading to heightened emotional distress? Can you be clingy with God? Bet nobody say nothing bad about my Lord. No, no. Do you fear that God will reject you? Are you seeking validation from God? Hmm? Do you have a preoccupation with beliefs? When I come forward, the voice of reason, I'm going to break down the dismissive avoidant attachment style as it relates to God. Which one is yours? Get to your phone lines, 1-800-920-1580. Nah, hell nah. I'm not with that. Hey, John Gilbreth, come on, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Hey, Reverend L. Ratchet, we don't do fear. Yo, we don't do fear, Reverend L. You got to join the conversation. It's an exploration, man. I see I'm going to need a cigarette and an adult beverage for this one. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. If we not pushing each other, man, to deeper understanding, man, we got to get out of the dang comfort zone. We got to get out of it. I can't do that fear shit. It's a conversation. There's no blasphemy here. There's no disrespect here. All right? So stop getting scary. Let's have this conversation. That's why I love Tapped In. Tapped In gonna call in and tell me about myself. She done did it 1,000 times. God is warm and fuzzy, bask in it. Nah, man, I don't do that fear. Come on, man. Come on. We had an extraordinary time in the world. Now's not the time to be scary. I'm just here to say, now's not the time for that. Do you? Ooh, I dare you to call in, Latarius. Call in and mention it. I'm scared of how good this show about to be. Now, let's go. Let's go. Everybody put the number in. Hit the like button. Hit the support, the super chat. Hey, John Gilbreth, man. I swear, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for showing up and showing out. Can we all show up and show out? There's a couple of ways. You can support through my Cash App. Hit my Cash App, $ ZoWhatNetter. Moderators are simple. Put my Cash App in. Or you can hit that little $ down at the bottom of the chat and give to the channel. Please support. Please support. Now get on the phone lines. Call me. Let's go. Melody Waters, I need to hear from you. Get in here. Let's go. Nazarene, let's go. Reverend L. Ratchet.
Clip right after.
I've got my ticket. Yes.
How do you feel about God? Not what you think about him. How do you feel about him? What do you imagine he feels about you? Thanks for joining me. I'm Dr. Carol. Our internal experience of God is an important part of how we relate to him and of our Christian experience. I hear from people regularly who intellectually believe that God is good, but they don't experience him that way. And there's a disconnect there. There's a struggle there. And that can create some really big hiccups in life in many ways, and in particular, your Christian walk and the kind of transformation that Jesus wants to bring to all of us. I have a special guest on the program today, Crispin Mayfield. This is the focus of his work. Crispin Mayfield has written a recent book, Attached to God, a practical guide to deeper spiritual experience. The whole attachment science area is something he cares a lot about. He's had a background in full-time ministry. Now he is a full-time therapist, and helping people wrestle through some of these things. What do we as followers of Jesus do with this internal part of our experience? He is a licensed counselor, married with 2 children, living in the Northwest. He's an author and podcaster, has written for some large Christian organizations and magazines and so on. But in this conversation, we're going to get below the propositional truths about God and talk about how we experience him. And I think you will find this very fascinating. When I can have a conversation with someone in this way, I love how we start with a biblical foundation and then scientific evidence that's...
Ooh, tonight, the phone line's already cracking. It's gonna be fire. Yes, people are having this conversation. So why not KBLA? Why not the voice of reason? If I could find intellectual resources, empirical studies out there where people are talking about this, why can't we have this discussion here? We got to stop being afraid. How is your attachment style? If it's insecure, if you are insecurely attached, the attachment style you got from childhood, how does that attachment style, whether it's anxious, preoccupied, whether you feel like you're chasing God, do you have to tell yourself, God knows me, God hears me, because really deep down inside, you don't feel heard or known by God? Do you have to say, God loves me? Because if you know God loves you, do you really have to declare it? Do you have to speak it? Do you have to say, God likes me? Do you have to say, you know what? I matter to God. Do you need to say that? God cares about me. Are you proclaiming it because you don't really feel it? What if you have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style to God, which is emotional detachment? A lot of people in the chat are expressing this now. You may exhibit emotional detachment in your relationship with God, keeping a distance and suppressing emotional expression. This is what the dismissive avoidant does when the relationship starts to encroach upon their ideation of independence. Ooh. Self-reliance. Well, wait a minute. I did this. I built this. You rely heavily on self-reliance and avoid seeking comfort or support from God, displaying a pattern of self-sufficiency. I was determined. I put the work in. I deserved the credit for my life. I didn't have to read no book or believe in nothing. I built this. Are you of that mindset? The dismissive avoidant has a fear of vulnerability. There's an aversion to being vulnerable or dependent on God, right? Leading to an avoidance of seeking solace or reassurance. Many people are going through this right now. Minimal dependency. You have minimal dependency on God for emotional support or guidance, preferring independence in managing life's challenges. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone line. Zoe's coming to y'all. Woo! I ain't gonna go through all of them. It's time to get some callers on right now. We got people in the line. Come on, Detroit, Michigan. Yo, D is on the line. D, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Okay, can you repeat it the way that you said it just a minute ago?
Well, I said a lot just a minute ago. What exactly do you want me to repeat?
Just basically the attachment issue, because we all know that people can have separation anxiety. But it's just like with children, when you have an empty nest. That's why when you get in a relationship, you should know we in it for the long run and not for the kids, because they're going to be out by 18 trying to prove to us that we did a good job. So, you know, it's more codependency, and yeah, it's more codependency.
Well, you know what, D? I actually agree with some of the things that you were saying. And guess what? I appreciate you being the first caller up in here. D, guess what you just did?
I brought the first caller from Detroit up in here.
Detroit! You know what up, though? We appreciate the call. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call us at 1-800-920-1580. Listen, when I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. Y'all want to talk? I want to talk. Let's talk about it. How has your maladaptive attachment style affected your relationship to God? Kenny, get in here. All you got to do is call in. Get in here. Let's go, avoidance. Y'all stupid. Andy quit it. I hear you. What is he doing? What is Andy? What is Andy doing? What is Andy doing? Nikki from the SIP. What is Andy doing? Everybody hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Don't start gang banging Attila. That's not you hear that element? Gang gang for the FAs. Fearful avoidance and out. Don't do that. Don't go that route. Summoning a sermon. That's what he's doing. Y'all silly. Andy. Andy. Who's that? So he wanted to comment. He wanted to request a song. Who was it? Tell Leroy to call in and stop playing. No, we ain't taking song requests, Leroy. Get to the phone lines. Yo, we got 4 minutes on this break. Who's gonna support, man? Hit my Cash App. Show your love. If you guys enjoy the content that I'm laying down today, please show your love. My Cash App is $Zoe What Netter. It's right there. Attila just posted it in the super chat. We taking twos and fews, nothing real heavy, nothing real big. We just taking twos and fews. Y'all want to support the show? This is how you do it. Show your love. What you come on, T man. Come on, brother. T man, that's hella disrespectful. I don't know if you know what topic we on, what this is about. We got a whole radio show going on, bruh. T man, we not even talking about that. This is a whole relationship, T man. A relationship show, I should say. Right? On live terrestrial radio. I know you probably conditioned to, he's on YouTube. So I guess this is a YouTube show. It's not, bro. This is the behind the scenes of a live radio show, KBLA 1580 in Los Angeles, California, brother. And we have deep, interesting relationship topics. That's what we own, fam. Now you're welcome to participate in what we own. But all the side stuff, man, nah, fam. I wasn't there. I don't know anything about anything, fam. We got 3 minutes. Anybody that shows their love, shows a little support, I'm gonna shout you out. Of course, the chat room will shout you out as well. Don't forget, sign up to the masterclass. The masterclass, the relationship masterclass, is happening this weekend. All right. The relationship masterclass is happening this weekend. Okay? This weekend. So if y'all want to get down with the get down, this is how you get down. Go to onestream.tv/the relationship ER. That is my 2-day masterclass link. When I tell you we got an amazing curriculum lined up for you, I want you guys to really get involved because it's going to be dope. All right. A lot of people don't want to put real effort into anything, let alone self. Man, who you talking? Who you telling, True? Who you telling? Who you telling? Thank you, C. Irving. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today, I'm talking about attachment styles and how they affect your relationships. Attachment refers to the bond that you form with people in close relationships, such as your parents, children, close friends, or romantic partners. Attachment theory was first developed by psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, but it has since been expanded upon by other researchers. And there's a few different models with different terms, but I'm going to focus on the original 3 types of attachment styles: secure, insecure anxious, and insecure avoidant. The 2 insecure styles can be summed up as anxiety about being abandoned or avoiding intimacy and closeness. What does this look like as an adult? If you have a secure attachment style, you feel comfortable letting people get to know you, and you feel content that you can rely on the person to be there when you need them. If you have an anxious attachment style, you tend to be clingy in relationships, and you're always on alert for the smallest sign of rejection. You don't trust very easily, and it can be a roller coaster of emotions for you. You can end up with a lot of broken relationships because you drive people away with the suspicions. Also, your fear of rejection can lead you to end a relationship so that you can avoid being rejected or abandoned by the other person. So you initiate the breakup. If you have an avoidant attachment style, you can appear aloof and distant in relationships. Essentially, you're not very reactive to things. If you feel threatened in a relationship, you may ignore the threat and rely on your own personal resources to get you through the crisis. It's like complete psychological independence. Your partner or friend can feel like, you don't need me. That's how it can look.
Ooh, Dr. Tracy never plays games, man. Attachment styles play a crucial role in shaping our relationships with others. But what about our relationship with God? Can our early insecure childhood attachment styles negatively affect how we perceive and connect with a higher power? These are complex questions that require a deep explanation and exploration of attachment theory, spirituality, and personal growth. To begin with, it is essential to understand the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. They are pioneers in the field of attachment theory. All right, very important. When we apply their framework to our relationship with God, intriguing parallels emerge. Just as our attachment style in earthly relationships can impact our emotional well being and behavior, it can also influence how we relate to a higher power. If we have a secure attachment style categorized by trust or characterized by trust, comfort with intimacy, and effective emotional regulation, we may find it easier to connect with God in many meaningful ways. On the other hand, individuals with insecure attachment styles may suffer and struggle to establish a deep, fulfilling relationship with God. For example, those with an anxious, preoccupied attachment style marked by a fear of abandonment and a constant need for reassurance may find it challenging to trust in God's unconditional love and acceptance. Similarly, individuals with a dismissive avoidant attachment style who tend to downplay emotions and avoid intimacy may find it difficult forming a genuine connection with the spiritual entity. This is heavy stuff. Are y'all ready for tonight's topic? We got callers all over the country. I want to talk to y'all. Tell me your attachment style. And also, tell me how it manifests in your relationship with God. We got Kiona, Sacramento, California. Get up in here.
Okay, so this is the first time I can actually say that I don't know, because I don't really adhere to any of the ways that Dr. Tracy, is that what her name is, described any of it. And that's what I struggle with, I think, with my connection with God. And I'm hoping that you can chime in, since you've been drawing me in for the last few weeks with your different topics.
Oh.
So I think that I am overly comfortable with God, and a little bit too, but at the same token, that translates into my relationships in the real world, to a point where I can't connect with others in the way that I should be able to. So I don't know what that's called.
That's interesting.
My father was killed by the Sacramento Police Department, which I say you keep drawing me in, because you did Sonia Massey this morning, well, this afternoon for me, because I'm on the East Coast now, with police deaths and things as such. My father, William Singleton, in 82, was one of those people. In 82, I was only 3 months old. Wow. And my mother moved on very quickly, and had other children, and had another child. And so, largely, God has never been a question for me. That was often who I was connected to, who I relied on, who I talked to, even in the face of ridicule and people telling me that I'm crazy. That's always been a given for me. I take that for granted. So I say I think I'm overly comfortable with God and unable to attach with other people, because I have only really had him and been led to study him and all.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I don't consider God him or her. It's a
wait. This is deep.
the highest.
Yes, and I'm with
The
you.
highest.
Yes, I'm with you on all of that.
Conscious.
But this is deep. My question is, you say you didn't really have anybody, but you had your mom. What was your relationship like with your mother?
I was the child that they wanted to forget, that she wanted to forget. I just said my father was killed in 82.
I remember
by
that.
The police. They went through civil cases and everything. His name was William Singleton Jr. And after they lost case after case after case, I was kind of the thing that everybody wanted to forget. They loved me. I was there, but I wasn't something that anybody really wanted to pay attention to.
So,
when George Floyd died, I used to say, I'm George Floyd's daughter, and I want to see how she is when she's older, because I was that kid. Is everybody going to move on and act like it's a thing of the past, and she gets forgotten in the interim, and all she has is her God and studies of God?
Right.
I mean, it led me to study Hinduism, Buddhism, everything under the sun, which led me to God is the most high consciousness, and we all have it.
So
and that's what I rely on. But it keeps me from connecting with other people.
So can I ask you this question yet again? And what I would like for you to do is contemplate for a moment as we come forward. I'm going to ask you again, and I'm asking your permission to ask you this again. Please think about it deeply. I want you to talk to me and, be as open and transparent as you possibly can regarding your relationship with your mother. Now, I heard, and condolences to you regarding your father, and I understand you probably being triggered like a mug when you see police officers do what they've been doing because of your history, because of what you've been through. But I really want to know about your relationship.
I don't talk to her.
I know. Just stay with me. I'm with you. I got you. but I can feel the trigger in you right now regarding her. So when we come forward, we gonna get back with our good friend Kiana.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
She's hurting. And I love her for calling. Like, if I could grab her and just let her know, Kiana, you're safe here. There ain't no judgment here. We got you. This is me hugging you up right now. I would just I would anaconda you. I would put you on the anaconda and just hug you up. We all that I love that tapped in. We all got you. That's what this is about. Ooh, May says, this is where we find out what the foundation in our belief in God is built upon. Ooh, yes. Mm-hmm. If you guys are enjoying tonight's conversation, don't hesitate. Y'all hit me on the Cash App. I haven't gotten one Cash App alert, so I'm not sure if anybody has hit me on the Cash App. Please support your brother on his Cash App. $ Zoe What Netter. Please continue to support, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, normally my notifications come across the screen, but I don't see them. No worries.
I wish I had a witness tonight. Said he saw the best in me. I guess I'm gonna look at this testimony. When everyone else around me can only see the worst in me. Can I tell you one more time? I said he saw the best in me. When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. I wish I had a witness tonight. All I need is one. Hey! He saw the best in me. When everyone else around me, yeah. Could only see the worst in me. Does anybody have that testimony? When folk looks wrong, said you would never make it. What did he see? He saw the best in me. When everyone else around me, yeah.
is an eternal life where there's a level at which the essence of that person, you know it beyond explanations, is eternal. You speak often about non-attachment. I can understand non-attachment to objects, but I can't comprehend non-attachment to my children or family. How can one be non-attached to those we love? Good question. The question I can understand non-attachment to things. Okay. Now, non-attachment to things, let's talk about that for a moment. Non-attachment to things does not mean not appreciating things, but it means not seeking yourself or to regard things as an extension of yourself, or think of things as needing them to add to your.
You know, I love me some Eckhart Tolle. Don't be attached to things. Oh, this is a heavy topic, and I just wanted to get back to Kiona, because Kiona, let me just say, you are under no obligation to talk to me, sweetheart. Just know that. And I appreciate you just being open and feeling like this is a safe space enough for you to share. I just need you to know that.
I share anyway. I'm on a journey to find my community and where I'm supposed to add the most and how I can grow the most, because thus far I haven't been able to. My own community, I feel like, rejects me. You asked me what I felt like my relationship with my mother is. It's one of disappointment. I gymnast, cheerleader, honor student, tried to get in as least, I still got in trouble, but I tried to get in as least trouble as possible. Already rejected because of what my father's situation was, and nobody wants to remember that. When your son, when your husband, when your father gets killed, when your brother gets killed in the manner that he did, nobody wants to remember that, especially when it didn't result in a way that was resolved in justice. Nobody wants to remember that, and I'm the remnant of that. I understand that. But at the same token, I feel like I got caught in the crossfire, and people reject me for things that are not my fault or my responsibility. And honestly, I feel like they should have been there for me to at least try to compensate. There's no compensation for that. So what I did was I turned to God in whatever form people deem it to be. My definition of such is a little different than most, which was why I started listening to you way back when, because of the things that you talk about. But that leaves me also feeling like an alien in the society where I'm not the norm. There are lots at this point of Black men and women that have been killed unjustly by the police. But in the larger scope of things, we're still the offspring of such are still a minor community. We're a minority, and I don't think that even the people who are around understand the way that affects our relationships and what paths we tend to go on. So when I say that I'm overly comfortable with God and I really don't know where to place myself or where to go from there, I say that because I've studied it in all its forms, and I've decided what most Christians call the Most High, and that translates across many belief systems and religions. They don't understand the relationship that some of us build with him, and I feel like I'm overly comfortable because he's my best friend, and I feel like I'm entitled to get pissed off with him. We have arguments, you know, and I don't mean like I'm hearing voices or anything crazy like that, but I mean, you know, there are situations that I know it is of God, and I know that it's meant for my growth, and it's meant for the path that I'm supposed to go on, or whatever it is that I'm supposed to contribute to the society. But at the same token, there are days where I feel like, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, I feel like, F you, leave me alone, give me some freaking peace. You know, I go from having my father killed to having a pedophile for a first husband and a straight up psychopath for a second husband and a potential for a third baby daddy. And I know that part of it is my choices, but the other part of it is the people that God puts in our paths for us to make a change or for them to change us and for us to grow. So I understand the balance part of it, but there are days where I feel like, leave me alone. And I don't feel like I don't respect him or the people around me. I don't feel like I don't understand it or I don't understand the power of it. There are just days where I feel like, leave me alone. I understand that you have something for me, but maybe I don't want to deal with it that day. And I don't really feel like I have a community because I don't think that that's a perspective that a lot of people have. And I try to read, you know, I look at whatever reading I can and whoever experts I can, and I don't feel, and that's why I said at the beginning of the conversation, maybe you can help me with the attachment style that I'm going through, because I can honestly say right now, I don't know.
I'm going to try, but let me just say this. You are heard, you are loved, you are seen, you are respected for sharing. Stay with me. When we come forward, we'll try to point you in some direction, okay?
It doesn't matter what I do. He only sees me for who I am. Does anybody know that tonight? Oh, see, he is mine, and I am his. Said it doesn't matter what I did. See, he only sees me for who I am. Help me sing it. Said that he is mine. KBLA 1580 Santa Monica. I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris might have one of the cleanest financial portfolios you'll see in a politician. That's according to public financial disclosure. The presidential candidate filed a public financial disclosure report for 2023, revealing she favors passively managed index funds, which essentially means there's no way for her to game the system by trading on inside information. A group of senators is pushing for a bill that would prohibit members of Congress from buying certain investments like individual stocks. A Senate panel will vote this week to approve the bill, but it's unclear whether it will eventually become law. Another large donation is going to help North Carolina's Livingstone College move to the future. An anonymous donor recently gave the HBCU $10 million, which will help with construction projects. It's the largest single donation for the school. That same donor reportedly gave Livingstone $7 million.
Make room for me, Zo. Okay.
Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15 powered by Intel Core processors. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes? Financial infidelity? Are you dating a fat person? Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this is gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't his, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like, is this okay? Roll up there?
Damn!
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my nips.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man moves on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses. Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
So Williams. Reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
The ability to connect with people and form real relationships is often damaged in those of us who were neglected or abused as children. And when you pull away from people and intentionally isolate yourself, and that's common, it's called avoidance. But you might be someone who doesn't intentionally isolate. You might be a covert avoider. For example, you could have a good career, you're friendly, you're interesting, there are people in your life, friends, maybe a partner or spouse, but there are hidden, covert ways that you keep your interactions superficial. You know, you keep one foot out of the relationship without anyone quite realizing it. Sometimes you don't even realize it. But if you've been trying and trying to connect better with people, and you don't seem to be getting any traction, it's time to look at whether maybe you're secretly, covertly avoiding people and your own life. Now, I'm going to talk about how we do covert avoidance and how to shift those behaviors if you're ready, if you want to open this up and make this the year you get better at meeting and caring for people in your life. All right, so avoidant behavior is really normal for people who had trauma when they were kids. If that's you, you may have learned to look okay on the outside, being cheerful, appropriate, functioning well, but you're probably also learned to protect your inner state by avoiding any kind of situation that might trigger you, things like rejection or criticism or getting ostracized by a group. So those hurtful things hurt all kinds of people, but for a person with complex PTSD, it can make you feel destroyed. It can trigger a period of dysregulation that makes it really hard to think and focus and function for days. And I talk a lot about dysregulation on this channel. You might want to explore that. But here's the first reason I'm going to give you to start healing your avoidant tendencies now, because even though getting triggered can feel like it destroys you, if you go through life rigidly protecting yourself from the way you feel around people, that destroys you too, and probably in a worse way. Without connection, your development gets frozen. On the outside, you might look confident and accomplished, but inside you're like a sad little kid just walking around. Now, I call the problem covert avoidance because it's not like avoidant personality disorder, which is an extreme kind of anxiety and social avoidance. That's on a level that would be fairly noticeable to other people. But covert avoidance isn't that noticeable. You seem okay. You're interacting with the world, but you're also holding yourself apart from it. So one big sign of covert avoidance is when you're too busy or too tired all the time to do normal things that a person in your position would do, like keeping where you live tidy, or making decent food for yourself and your kids, perhaps, or going to bed on time, or getting up on time. When you're avoiding this level of functioning, it's an inward-directed kind of avoidance. Then there are the
Let's get our sister back in here. Kiona from Sacramento, the voice of reason, hour number 2. But before we get started with Kiona, let me just say this really quickly. I meant to do this in the first hour, but this show just took off like a rocket. This weekend, this is the final week you can sign up for my masterclass. All right, KBLA listeners, get over there, sign up to my masterclass. This weekend is going to be a 2-day class, 2-day course. I've written a full curriculum. Day 1, which is Saturday, the 3rd, all philosophy. Day 2 will be the clinical side, and I have a special guest clinician coming in to curate that part of the discussion with me. The website, onestream.tv/the relationship ER. KBLA folks, y'all sign up tonight. onestream.tv the relationship ER. Zoe's first relationship masterclass webinar series in 2 years. You guys don't want to miss it. All right, back to Kiona. Kiona, am I saying
What
it?
do you have from
Am I saying it right? I didn't.
Pardo? Yeah.
Okay, so it took me a minute, but I got it right.
It took you a few years, so you got it.
Okay, cool. So
Fiona like Fiona, if you remember.
that's right. That's right. From Shrek, Fiona, Kiona. Gotcha.
All right.
All right.
That's
So
the meaning down Gift and Brown Hill.
right. So this is my first suggestion. Dr. Shalonda Crawford or Dr. Jashana Johnson. These are two sisters who have radio shows here on KBLA that are master clinicians on the clinical side. I'm going to give you the spiritual piece, but they're going to give you that, and they're going to give you some spiritual too, but they can give you the clinical. Now, that clip that we played coming in, did you hear anything that was remotely familiar to your situation? What was being described?
Some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it with avoidant isolation.
Right.
The other part of it is that I'm not an avoidant isolant. They actively kicked me out of the family so that they could take over the money that was won during a civil suit.
Right.
Anything that I ever did in my life, they got pissed. I can't share anything positive that I've done. I can't do anything right, and anything that I've done wrong is hyper scrutinized. They're hypercritical of it. Mm-hmm. Anything that they've done that I've done is different because I did it, and I was supposed to be the golden child because of my father. I don't really feel. I feel like some of it applies, but others of it doesn't. I do avoid, but I isolate because of the things that they have done to me, not because I'm removing myself from negativity for my own mental health.
So you feel
batshit crazy. I should watch my language.
Yes, you should. Yes, you have to watch your language. This is radio. This is not podcast. So let me just say, let me just say this.
Crazy right now. The only thing that has kept me from being crazy with the active things that they've done, and I'm not just pretending like they're doing these things. They're doing these things. I can show you paperwork. And that's why I get caught in the area.
Kiona.
I'm not crazy.
Kiona, I'm not saying you're crazy, but you're going to have to share the conversation. When I break in, you got to let me break in. We're on radio. Is that okay? All right?
No. It's your show.
Okay, no, I just want I want us to work together. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So
that's what I wanted.
Yes, but I also hear some anxious, preoccupied because of this rejection, this abandonment that you've gotten, right? That you've experienced. It's clear that you felt abandoned or feel abandoned, correct?
Yes.
Right. And wherever you see that abandonment wound, or what they call an attachment wound, a lot of times that is associated with the anxious, preoccupied. The other piece that I would have you do, and you seem to be a very transparent person. If I were you, I would go online and look up the most credible attachment style quiz or test that I could find. And I would take that test honestly, because those tests mean absolutely nothing if you don't tell the truth when you're answering those questions. And I would see where I fall in the insecure attachment style spectrum. If I'm dismissive avoidant, if I'm fearful avoidant, or if I'm actually anxious preoccupied. I heard a lot of what you were saying in the clip that preceded our discussion here. And I think it's important that you investigate further, because before you can even get to the step that I refuse to even mention at this point, you're going to have to reconcile exactly where you sit here in terms of this attachment style. So that's either anxious, preoccupied, which I feel like it might be, but I would love for you to go take the test and then call me tomorrow and be like, yo, it's this or that. Would you do that for me?
I will,
All right. So
but I'm not really confident that I'm going to figure it out.
no. There's a process. We're gonna take it step by step.
The action, I know people say that a lot of the things that people say are, are victimization of the things,
Mm-hmm.
In their own mind. But what do you do when the situations really are real, when the people really are attacking you? And it's not just paranoia.
No, I totally get where you are. I'm not here to discredit or disprove any of your testimony tonight. Remember, this is a non-judgmental space. But what I would like for you to do, if this is okay for me to offer this, is focus on what I'm asking. Let's not deal with the whole problem. Let's deal with just this, which is I want you to take the test. I want you to be 100% honest taking the test. And then I want you to call me tomorrow night and then we talk about it further. Can we agree to that and take baby steps and move forward?
Absolutely.
All right, Kiona, I will see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Sacramento in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Reverend L, Dallas, Texas. Get in here.
What's going on, Zoe?
What's up, man?
Man, I appreciate you having me on. I want to say first, I don't want to offend anybody in what I'm about to say.
Well, here we go. Usually when you say that, you wind up doing it. So come on.
Nah, I'm gonna be mindful. My relationship with people became better once I didn't really believe anymore. I started becoming more of a human and understanding people's feelings and understanding what I like, what I wouldn't want somebody to do to me when I stepped away from the faith, actually. So I'm not saying what works for me works for everybody, but I know I was not the best person when I was into God, into believing, into an ideology of how I should become. So I was my insecurity. I had insecurities to try to do things, insecurities of standards I felt like I needed to be and become.
Mm-hmm.
But once I had to step out and learn to do stuff differently that I felt that was best for me, I started becoming a better person in a relationship, a better man, a better everything. So I'm the opposite of what that lady was a minute ago. She said she doesn't connect with people, but she's close to God, and I'm different. I connect with people, and I listen to what people. I actually listen to what people say, and I try to understand where people come from. And I think that's one of my attributes to just being myself and understanding, like, hey, don't put so much on other people. Put it on. Think about it, how you can control it, and then go from there.
Do you have a relationship with God?
I had a relationship with God. I put more of my relationship on myself now.
Ooh, did we describe this? This sounds like dismissive, avoidant attachment to God. We described this earlier. And Reverend L done call. How you a reverend and you don't have a relationship with God? Boy, I'd throw this phone out the door. Man, what in the world? Reverend L? Come on now. You got to fix this for me.
I mean, I'm being honest with you because I've been listening for a while, but I had to step out on my own faith to be like, okay, is this what you really want to do with your life? Do you want to step out on your faith and become a better person to the people around you and not live a facade and saying, oh yes, I believe in this and I believe in that, when it didn't reflect on me that way. Like the things when I would pray about certain things, especially in relationships, I felt like I was, doing the right things and all this other stuff, but it really wasn't it until I stepped out and started becoming more solid about myself. Like, I wouldn't want this to happen to me. I'll give you an example real quick. I was in the mix of two women, and I was praying about which situation should I go to and which situation should I leave. So I'm not saying it's made any difference, but if I prayed for the situation that I wanted, or a situation that I felt like it was correct, and I asked God for some guidance, and I went with the woman that I prayed for, and I got the revelation, oh, this is the lady, and then that situation went sideways, then whose fault is it? It's mine because I made a decision. But if I would have put my faith into my own mind frame, I feel like, things could have been any which way. You never know. So I'm not going to blame that on God.
Did that, wait, hold on. Did that actually happen to you?
That actually happened.
That actually happened to me too. Like, verbatim. Listen. Hey, hey. Listen. Whoa. Oh, so right now you feel a little like, I got it, God. Is that what I'm getting from you right now?
I got it. If I make this mistake on my own, I got it.
But I'm listening, brother. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So when I do talk to people who do believe, and and all that good stuff, I never deter them from believing, because that's what runs them. People need hope. People need that type of feeling. They need that. So can
can I offer you just an alternative real quick? An alternative perspective. God is not a dogma or an ideology. The foundational reality of all existence supersedes language, supersedes culture, supersedes belief systems, right? These belief systems are merely symbols to try to describe the ever-living source that permeates all things from time immemorial to forever, infinite, right? So to reduce God to a book is dangerous. So when I'm listening to the way you're framing it, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just giving you an alternative perspective. To say I distanced myself from God, wait a minute. God is not a point out there in the universe, that, a three-dimensional location that you can distance yourself from. Right? Like, you are not, this separate piece of reality that somehow has no God in it. You, like a drop from the ocean, you could be transported 1,000 miles from the ocean, and if you still exist, you would still be the ocean. You would just be a drop. Do you see? So oftentimes we get the dogma, the belief system, the verses, the surah, the chapter, the ayat. We get all of that stuff mixed up as God. Listen, those are ideas and concepts. So when we talk about the psychological angle, what is your attachment style, sir? And how, right, does that attachment style, if in fact it is maladaptive, if in fact it is an insecure attachment style, how does that affect your relationship with God? When we come forward, we're going back to Dallas, Texas. Let's get it. Yeah. Yo, we on. Oh, that was Cornell West who just walked in here. Tavis and Cornell just came in, and Cornell came in and went. So, sorry. I got a little distracted while my brother Reverend L was talking. I love Reverend L. Ratchet. I love that brother. Hey. Yeah, he's still running for president. And of course, I feel like I might have to do a part 2 to this motherfucker because this show is on fire right now. Yeah. Yeah, he gave me the double points. What's that? Religion can bring you closer to God or it can pull you further away. I don't know who's done it. I hope somebody hit that Cash App and showed your support tonight. I hope you guys are appreciating tonight's topic. It's a heavy show. SB Lemuel says part 2 necessary. Y'all agree that part 2 is necessary for this show? Many more parts. Oh, come on, Tapped In. We waiting for you. Gilbreth, I'm coming, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR, the voice of reason, back in the building. Yes, we got gospel music today. Don't be afraid. It's a heavy conversation that we're having, a heavy topic, you know. An intriguing look at the impact of early childhood attachment styles on relationships with the self and with God. If you have an insecure attachment style, does that insecure attachment style negatively affect your relationship with God? I.e., if you're anxious, preoccupied, do you find yourself chasing God? Do you find yourself worried that God is going to abandon you? Are you constantly seeking reassurance from God? Are you hypersensitive to is God really real? Is he going to support me? Is there a fear that God might reject you? Are you constantly seeking validation from God? Difficulty letting go? Do you understand? Preoccupied with all these different beliefs. A lot of times, someone with a anxious, preoccupied attachment style will exhibit these behaviors, this kind of frenetic behavior in their adult relationships. That's anxious, preoccupied. But now the question becomes, Do they have the same type of relationship with God? If God doesn't give them what they want, do they feel rejected or abandoned? And then, of course, in the John Bowlby, Mary Ainsworth attachment theory hierarchy, you have something called dismissive avoidant, where there's emotional detachment from God. There's this over-reliance on self. We hear our brother, Reverend L, who's on the phone right now, who has what appears to be a dismissive, avoidant attachment style with God, self-reliance, fear of vulnerability, minimal dependency, reluctance in seeking comfort from God, stoicism, dismissive language or thoughts about God and spiritual matters are evident, reflecting an internal dismissiveness turned towards a relational connection with God. I mean, this is my guy, Reverend L, right now. He's described this a lack of interest. You express a lack of sustained interest in deepening your relationship with God or practicing spiritual beliefs. I keep telling you, the dogma is not the thing. It was the great linguist Alfred Korzybski who once said, "The map is not the territory." The GPS in your car does not tell you the condition of the road. It doesn't say there's a pothole here. You understand? The book is a symbol of what God means. Let me tell you, it's easy to get the symbol, but it's difficult to wrap your mind around what the symbol actually symbolizes, brother. Now, get back in here. I need your thoughts. Are you, well, tell me what your attachment style is.
I can go back. My previous attachment style was avoidance.
See? We knew it.
But where I am now, my present, I feel like I'm more secure.
Okay, stay right there. Stay right there. Don't leave. Don't leave. When we come forward, Lord have mercy, this show is flying. Reverend Ratchet L gonna give us his final thought. He's not on right now. I'll turn him up when we come back. I had to turn him down. I promise you guys will be able to hear him, okay? I think I did have the volume up on my side, though. Nazarene, you like the conversation? He said bonkers great. I feel like we're just scratching the surface, though. You know, it's crazy. I had a long conversation with my oldest son today, and we were talking about his daughter, my granddaughter, you know, and he said something to me today I did not remember. And it kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, it makes sense now. Now, you know, he has a bachelor's degree in philosophy. So it makes sense. He was like, Dad, when I was 5 years old, you gave me the Dynamic Thought book by Thomas M. Hamblin. You know, he was like, not only, you know, well, his mother is a teacher. So his mother, taught him very early to read. But he was like, I'm trying to get her to do exactly how you. And I was like, well, she might have a different path. But he was like, do you remember you gave me the book Dynamic Thought? And I was like, and what's cold about my son, he kept that book with him. I mean, even now, he still has that book. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Yeah, at 5 years old, I gave him, look up this book. Look up this book. The book is called Dynamic Thought. It's by Thomas, I think, M. Hamblin. And he was just like really, today he was like really adamant. He was like, it's time. When I was her age, you put that book in my hand. And I was like, did I put it in your hand? Like I had to like recall. I know I read it. I read to him, but he was like, I knew how to read. So he was like, you put that book in my hand. Now, what I do remember, when he was in the 3rd grade, I definitely put the Krishnamurti book in his backpack. Education and the Significance of Life was the book that I gave him. And he was having some problems with his teacher. And they're in a little exclusive area, the school is. And a lot of times those teachers over there feel like, oh, we can talk kind of crazy to the kids that are from maybe the other side of the tracks. And they all look alike to them. So I had a whole section highlighted in the book. And I gave the book to him. I made him read it. And then, because in that section, Krishnamurti is talking about how teachers ruin the soul of kids by being programmed robots. And so I made him read it. He read it. I said, do you understand it? I said, if you don't understand any of the words, stop and we'll look them up together. So he understood, gave him the book, put it in his backpack. I said, your job is to offer it as a gift to your teacher from your father. And we went over this. I said, this is a gift from me to your teacher, and tell her that I have highlighted a passage for her. And he went to school and he was like, bam, my dad told me to give you this book. It's a gift. And he got this highlighted for you to check out. And you know how Krishnamurti was very short with people. No, that's not it. No, that is not it. That's such foolishness. Stop it. He was short than a motherfucker. So she kind of laid off of him a little bit, but then, she started ratcheting up again. And then I came to the campus. And when I came to the campus, it was a whole different vibe when I came to the campus. That's what I loved about being a dad, man. When I put my foot on the campus, niggas knew, like, oh, okay. New and Prima's dad is here. They knew I was with the smoke. Somebody was getting cussed out. Somebody was going to get checked. But that's why I was the last line of defense. Like, don't bring in a nuclear missile. Have his mom talk to him first. She would come back to me and she would be like, they're not really listening. Oh, word. Okay. It's my turn. All right. Then I show up. Random, no appointment, sitting in the hallway, waiting. Just They knew, like, oh, hell. Break glass in case of emergency. But yeah, they stopped fucking with my kids because they kind of understood, like, okay, they're supported differently. Mom's an educator.
Last clip.
I know you mentioned earlier about how our attachment style can come into effect when it comes to our relationship with God, which makes total sense because the Lord relates to us as Father, as a parent.
Yes.
And so, of course, the way our parents and that relationship formed would definitely reflect in our relationship with God. And I know for me, that was something that was really helpful.
Just hold on. Don't frame it up like that. Because if you frame it up like that, you make God look bad. God don't operate like your daddy unless your daddy is invisible. Don't frame it up like that. That's dangerous. And we know what an absentee dad, we know what kind of impact that can have on the kid. So don't frame it. Hold on. Hold that video right there. Reverend L, get in here, man.
Yes, sir.
Boy, they almost fumbled at the 2-yard line. Don't, God is like our Father. Hold on. Don't frame it that way. God is an inner knowing. Now, you can become disconnected from that inner knowing, but that disconnection comes as a result of your own actions. Okay, finish your thought, Reverend L.
I really wanted to say about my moral compass. Like I said, my moral compass grew. It grew a lot. So I'm going to take what you said and build on it and explore some more just to make sure that, I don't want to come across as my way is correct to somebody, because we all in this journey to try to figure out what's going to make a better life for us without hurting others. So that's all I wanted to say about it.
Right. And I love it, brother. And I love the fact that you called in and shared your insight. You already know you got a seat at the table. Dallas, Texas in the building. Now, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We're going to Hawaii right now. Mountain View. John, get in here.
Greetings and blessings, chat. Let me be quick and brief. I have a different perspective on what is being spoken of as these attachment styles, as well as the relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, if you read throughout the entire Bible, you find a whole lot of people that were insecure about whatever God had asked them to do.
Keep going, Pastor.
The simple fact that God will place you in whatever position he places you in, there was a purpose behind it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So again, for those of us who are kind of anxious about how God's going to bless us, quit trying to control what God is going to bless you with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Accept it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The simple fact that you're going through trouble is to bring your faith closer to him anyway. That's why you call on his name.
Huh.
For those of us who are being blessed, you know it's not going to last always, and you know who you got to lean on. That's the design of
you cooking right now. You're inspiring me. You know that happens, right? So I've got to ask, Was Jesus anxious, preoccupied, as evidenced in the Garden of Gethsemane when he said, my God, if it be thy will, let this cup pass from me, not as I will.
Let's go to the actual words and say, why hast thou forsaken me?
Oh, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani is the actual term. Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. My God, why have thou forsaken me? Which is also taken from the Psalms when David is on the cross and he says the same thing. But that's fine. The question is that anxious, preoccupied? Is that an example of it? Because the anxious, preoccupied attachment style says, I'm being abandoned. Talk to me.
Well, as we find that we have narcissist attachments, we also have those same attachments in the inconsistencies of where we stand or what we believe. So yes, it can also be attached to those things, but let's keep in mind it's all by design. You got to get rid of that madness before you're even blessed into the next evolution. So ask your questions, please.
Oh, now I got to ask you this. Can we, from our perspective, you could say we're far less evolved than our higher self, which would be synonymous with what is being called God. Our lower self is so far removed to the point where we can't clearly see our higher self until we reconcile our insecure attachment style. Talk to me.
Well, let's go inward. The very simple thing that allows us to understand what God is within us is the love that not only we have for him, but also the love we have for ourselves. So again, if you're missing the point, the love is already within you. The spirit of the very same God is already within you. You already have an attachment to him, and it's going nowhere.
But how do we discover it if we modeled the lack of love in our early childhood environments? How do we discover divine love, which is synonymous with God itself within ourselves, when we weren't able to model it in our home when we were children?
The paradox is choice.
Keep going. That's why I keep throwing them to you. Keep going.
You choose this day what you're going to do. You choose this day who you're going to serve. You choose this day what your actions are going to be. And you can choose life, or you can choose whatever you think is necessary.
Man, John, guess what you did, man?
Mountain View's in the building. And let me also add this. The giving is also the surrendering. It's necessary.
It's necessary. Brother, you brought Mountain View, Hawaii in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580 when we come forward. Over to Jacksonville, Florida we go. Yeah. Nah, this was a slapper. This show was a slapper. Attila, don't think you off the hook, because you're not. We're going to cover the fearful avoidant when I get in here. Over there fucking hiding. Straight hiding out. Like you not calling in. Like, that's comedy. She thought she was gonna go the whole show. Like, he ain't gonna say nothing. I'm about to duck up out of here. Wrong. What up, Yogi Fish? Oh, but I be remembering. Long time, Yogi Fish. Hey, I really need y'all to sign up to my masterclass, guys. Listen, it's really important that you guys sign up to the masterclass, okay? Like, I can't emphasize how important it is that you guys sign up to the masterclass. Okay? Please and thank you. OneStream.tv / the relationship ER. All right? OneStream.tv / the relationship ER. I can't emphasize enough. Okay? This show just moved entirely too fast. You understand me? Like, it just... Man, tonight's show just flew so fast. Like, I'm blown away. Right? Somebody, they're saying I should do a part 2 to this thing because this thing just flew up out of here. We didn't even get to the fearful avoidant attachment style. According to John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth attachment theory, the fearful avoidant person with the fearful avoidant attachment style is somebody who was in an environment with their caregiver where the source of love, which is their primary caregiver, also terrified the child. So typically there is abuse, verbal, physical, emotional, psychological. There's abuse in those situations. So the very source of my love is terrifying for me to go get. So there might be a moment where, oh, in this moment, I got a window. There's some love there. Let me go get the love. But then they go get the love. It's almost like a mouse trap because it can snap and turn terrifying instantly. So the fearful avoidant has 2 core wounds. They have an avoidant wound. Let me pull away. It's not safe. And then they have the chasing kind of anxious wound. Hey, let me show you. I can prove to you that I'm good. The fearful avoidant, their attachment style. These are some characteristics here. Constant fear. Persistent fear or dread characterizes your relationship with God, making it a prevalent aspect of your spiritual experience. Avoidance. You may actively avoid engaging with God due to an underlying fear of rejection and or punishment. Feelings of unworthiness. Back to the anxious preoccupied. They have both. You frequently experience feelings of unworthiness, guilt, or shame in the context of your relationship with God, which can lead to persistent anxiety and apprehension. Overwhelmed by punishment, there's a profound dread of punishment from God, which leads to ongoing emotional distress and fear of retribution, difficulty trusting, right? You experience significant difficulty in trusting or feeling secure in your connection with God, leading to persistent feelings of anxiety and fear. Does God have my back? Is he going to be there? This is the fearful avoidant, extreme sensitivity. You are highly sensitive to perceived threats from God, leading to an ongoing sense of vulnerability and imminent danger. God saw me steal the cheese and crackers, right? Reluctant in seeking comfort. You may feel reluctant to seek comfort or reassurance from God, as persistent fear overshadows the potential for solace. Then there's catastrophizing. Everything is a catastrophe. There's a tendency to catastrophize or magnify perceived threats from God, intensifying fears of feelings and apprehensions. Please note that this is happening in their intimate relationships too. Inhibited spiritual growth. I'm not going to read all of them. Is your insecure attachment style negatively impacting your relationship with God? I got to do a whole nother topic. Let's get Mimi in here. Mimi, Jacksonville, you got to make it quick. We up against it.
Hey everyone, I just want to say, for me, when I heard this topic, I said, I thought about Job and the many hardships that he went through.
Nobody want to be Job. What are you talking about?
He never cursed God.
No, he didn't.
That's my relationship. No
Mm.
matter what I go through, my trials, my tribulations, family, friends, his life in general, I still go to God. I still pray. I still meditate. I still praise God.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
That's it.
So your example, one more time, is Job.
That's what I thought about when you first started going into the show, and I said, I couldn't remember exactly how you phrased the topic, but basically your attachment style and your relationship with God, does that make you have a stronger relationship or not a relationship at all? And I don't know what my attachment style is.
Let me stop you real quick. I'm sorry, love. Your relationship with God is different than your intimate relationships, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yes and no.
See, because the question is, we give God certain leeway that we would never give our significant other. Why is that?
For me, God is God. God is higher than flesh. God is God and people. And you know what I'm saying? God is God. God is God.
Okay, all right. Say it one more time.
God is God for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a perfect Christian, a perfect woman, but God is the source of it all for me. And every time I've been in a dark place with family, friends, and no human being could help me, God brought me out.
So are human beings diet God? Diet source?
They can be.
See, I don't believe that the further away, I don't believe that there is a central government to God. Like, God is in the Washington, D.C. of heaven. But if you are in the Fiji of the globe or of heaven, you that far from Washington, D.C., the distance from Fiji to Washington, D.C., I don't believe that there is a lessening of the intensity of the frequency of God. I believe God is God wherever God is. And that is all of Mimi. But Mimi, I got to get the rest of these callers in here. I love you, Mimi. Jacksonville is in the building because of you now. JW, you got to get in here. What are your thoughts, man?
Hey, my brother, I don't have time to frame my conversation. I try to wait until tomorrow, write some things down. But for that first young lady that said she was comfortable with God and not comfortable with her relatives, but sometimes she cursed at God, I just want her to know that I had a situation where I had some words with God because I was about to fall asleep behind whoever the tractor trailer,
and he was just between me and God, and I gave him a piece of my mind. I wasn't cussing him out, but I was using cuss words, and I seen a white cross, and that woke me up. But anyway, I told another person that story that is a dismissive avoidance, one of my partners, and we're going to this tomorrow, and I'll give some more perspectives and nuances.
Hey, man, we appreciate you. Deacon JW from South Central Los Angeles. We had Nikki, and she got time, but then Nikki bounced. Let me just say this. God does not fit into our primitive mind. Our mind is incredible, right? It's incredible. But in comparison to God, it's primitive in terms of trying to conceptualize it, okay? God is beyond comprehension, and oftentimes language uses us to such a degree that we get a misconception of what God is about. Again, God allows you, and when I say this, I'm not speaking dogmatically. God allows you to access it regardless of the level of consciousness that you are on. If you could raise up from shame, guilt, apathy, fear, anger, right? If you can raise up consciously from the lowest level of consciousness to a more balanced level of consciousness, say neutrality, right? Say you can transcend pride, right? You get to neutrality. Then beyond neutrality, you start to get into the higher concepts, right? You get into intellectualism, philosophy, then you transcend that. You start to get into non-dualism. When you can transcend the lower levels of consciousness, the effulgence of God becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. At the lower levels of consciousness, you need more words. At the higher level of consciousness, language loses its meaning. All right. I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with another slapper. The voice of reason, always on fire tonight. Yo, that flew. That was a super fast show. Like, jeez. Like, huh? It was deep. I might have to do it again. I'm not big on. You was working with Kiana. I had to work with her. Yeah. For a minute, I was about to be like, man, we need to take this private. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm gonna work with my peoples, man. I'm gonna show the love. Much love, motherfucker. Show me. There you go, bro. Yes, sir. Yo, man, this was a great show. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Hey, man, I'm dead ass serious. Do not leave me hanging on this masterclass. I need y'all to show up. I need y'all to sign up. It's gonna be amazing. I want a crowd full of people. I want y'all in there. OneStream.tv, the relationship ER. Show you love, all right? Appreciate tapping in. I'm going home.